70,000 men in a group chat. 70,000 men in a group chat. What are they discussing? How to harm women and children. And this includes the women and their families, including their mothers. I don't know, y'all, we going into a new year. If this is not a sign, ladies, for you to be decentering men, if this, girl, 70,000. Putting all that energy into plotting and scheming against women, why don't they just sleep together? Problem solved. Keep us out of the conversation and y'all sleep together. Why don't y'all play matchmaker in that fucking group chat? 70,000 men. That should be enough incentive for you to decenter them and to stay single and celibate and level up.
That number is not hyperbole. 70,000 men got into a group chat and have sustained it for years, where the whole purpose of it was to give tips and tricks about how to harm women in your life. Your girlfriend, your aunt, your sister, your mom, your daughter. And we wonder why it is that women will have these conversations in social media about the man or the bear. Well, bear's not doing that. Grizzlies aren't getting together and talking through the trees about how to fuck up women. Like, that's not happening. And you know what really frustrates me about this news at all existing, beyond the fact that I can't even imagine how many women have just like had their lives made worse, if not totally harmed or ended by this chat. But it makes me angry because you know that 70,000 is a big enough number. That's enough people to fill all SoFi Stadium, by the way. That's a big enough number that almost certainly a non-insignificant portion of the people in that chat were young men between the ages of 10 and 20. And I just wonder who in their life is asking them, who are you spending your time with? Where are you hearing that? Who told you to talk like that? You know, because like if it starts in a group chat, it's going to percolate into regular conversation. And if you're a young guy like me, I'm 26. You know, I have a 15-year-old nephew. And if I heard any inkling about that young man talking in any way about harming the women in his life, I mean, he'd be getting a call from me, right? Like it's not even a negotiation. You know, it would be a call to understand, what are you doing, first of all, and then it would be me cajoling the shit out of him to stop that. Because there's a point where when the conversation is about harm, it's less about the gentle parenting, right? It's about letting people know, like, that's not okay. You know, like, you are not a man to do that. You know, no man is a man to do that. Things like that. And it just makes me wonder how many of these young men, who were certainly in this chat, were able to show the chat directly to their friends, or maybe even to older men in their life, and only receive like, oh man, that's so edgy, that's so crazy, instead of being like, hey, you want to fucking show me that again? You want to tell me why you're in that chat? You know? God, dude, it's just, it drives me crazy because people on the right love to talk about social decay and about corrosion of morals. This is it. Stuff like this is it. This is the acid bath on everybody's psyche and sense of safety that nobody needs. You know, and for what? For what? For these guys to feel tough? Like, for them to share memes where the joke is woman hurt? Like, where's the outrage about this? You know, where's the outrage about this? Because there were American men in that chat. You know, where's the outrage about this? About what that reflects about our values, you know? Holy shit.
Shalom, like to say, call on Yahweh, Bashim, El Shah, Bashim, Kakadash, the bonus of the Apostle, Elsgurt, Millstone, peace, citation, full life. And I'm just gonna get a little bit into this article before I get my 2 cents in on the video that I brought up from the brother Arrows of Indignation. You know, he usually gives out good videos to discuss about, you know, certain topics that people be pushing on social media and how it pretty much relates to the times that we coming into in the truth, you know, and it relates to certain prophecies as well. And in the Yahoo News, it says, this is originally from the Telegraph, you know, .co.uk, but you know, sometimes there's other news outlets that pretty much give, let's say, a portion of, you know, their account, you know, of certain reports that other articles originally have, you know, posted first about, you know, the news on a particular topic. And it says right here, Telegram rape chat groups with up to 70,000 members uncovered. And this is originally on Thursday, December 19, 2024 at 9:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a 2-minute read by George Lucan. And the key takeaways says thousands of men are participating in Telegram chat groups where they share suggestions on how to rape and sexually assault women, with as many as 70,000 members communicating in English from various countries. A German man was sentenced to 20 years in prison for sedating his wife and offering her online to be raped and assaulted by other men, with 50 others found guilty in the case, raising questions about the role of anonymous internet chat groups in facilitating such crimes. Telegram, founded by Russian tech billionaire Pavel Durov in 2013, has been a platform for criminals due to its refusal to share data with government agencies, with users in these chat groups sharing tips on sedating partners and links to buy sedatives disguised as hair products. And the article ain't too much to read, but I'll just go a little quick and just giving out the main points. It says, if it gets too long, it says thousands of men are participating in chat groups in which they share the suggestions on how to rape a sexually assault woman. A German investigation has revealed the groups on the instant messenger service Telegram have as many as 70,000 members who mostly communicate with one another in English, and they appear to come from a variety of countries. Users claim to have assaulted women in their household, including wives, partners, sisters, and mothers, and also shared instructions with others on how to do the same. Some of the chat groups also shared pictures where others posted live video of the assaults. In one instance, a German man said he would sedate his wife and offered her to other users. The allegation came as a court in Avignon, France, sentenced Dominique Pellicot to 20 years in prison for sedating his wife, Giselle, and offering her online to other men to rape and assault. He would also rape and assault himself. The attacks took place over several years, with 50 other men in the case found guilty on Thursday. The trial has raised questions about the extent to which anonymous internet chat groups facilitate such crimes. Mr. Pellicot has been raised for insisting that the case took place in public in order to raise awareness about the issue. Telegram, set up by Russian tech billionaire Pavel Durov in 2013, has long been the go-to messenger platform for criminals due to firms' refusal to share any data with government agencies. The investigation by German broadcaster ARD and its STRG_F investigate all found group users have been swapping tips on how to sedate their partners. This included posting links to online shops where sexual abusers could buy sedatives disguised as hair products. Telegram insisted that it takes action against such groups. It said in a statement, Telegram has a zero-tolerance policy towards misuse of its platform. All users caught doing so will be blocked immediately. During ARD's year-long investigation, some groups were deactivated, but users were often sent links to new ones. Investigators in Germany said they have some success in recent years in convincing Telegram to share information connected to probes in terrorism and child sex abuse contact. Mr. Durov was arrested in France in August on charges of failing to address the distribution of illicit content. He has denied the allegations. Currently under the house arrest in Paris, the tech entrepreneur later said his platform would do more to crack down on problematic content. The prevalence of child abuse content on apps such as Telegram has led to calls in Germany for the police to be given more power to locate the IP addresses of people acting anonymously online. And that alone is ultimately going to make the government gain more intel on your cell phones and pretty much give them an excuse to now, monitor and investigate and pretty much voyeur every activity that you do online, on a whole nother level. This is the perfect excuse for them to pretty much spy on you, just to say that they're doing this for your safety. Without further ado, I'll bring out some scriptures and what will it make this lesson edifying. And pretty much before I bring out the scriptures, I also want to, give my 2 cents in on what was being said in the videos that I brought out. with the brother Arrow's indignation. He pretty much combined two videos in one. And what had happened in the video that he brought out, you could see that this nigga woman was, with a head wrap, which I wouldn't be surprised if she wearing a head wrap just to think to herself that, oh, she's spiritual and all this nonsense, and realistically she's really wearing it because she probably got a bald head from what it seemed like, but she's over here talking shit about how those men should be basically dating each other, matchmaking with each other instead of spending time on how to harm women. And she's over here saying that when it's coming to women, that they should ultimately be single and not even date these men. But here it is, what she gets wrong is the fact that women are meant to be with men first and foremost, and ultimately as a woman it shows that this is the reason why your ass is supposed to know your role and your lot. Your ass is supposed to stay at home. You ain't supposed to be on social media talking shit. You're supposed to be pretty much seeking ultimately for a man of the Lord. This is the reason why a man in the Lord is pretty much gonna be that most ideal man to seek after, because other men that don't have the spirit of the Heavenly Father, they're just gonna be prone to doing these things. You know what I mean? And you could tell she's a your typical nigga woman in a sense. You could see her potato ass head and her Lay's potato chip ass glasses, and her demeanor and her attitude in the video just shows the type of proud and prideful spirit that she has, an arrogant spirit as well. And these are bitches that I wouldn't be surprised are mentioned in those group chats on pretty much with those men that's in group chats related to that Telegram group, that rape group chat. I wouldn't be surprised if men are trying to harm women just like that. You know what I mean? Because the black woman is the most I'll say top pioneer for a feminist woman. You know what I mean? Because even though the Edomite woman would pretty much be the top hoe, Eve pretty much surpasses the Edomite woman in feminism and whoredom and being rebellious. And I'm not gonna hold you, but you're gonna have a lot of women like her that's gonna basically coming from how she's talking in the video, you could tell that she pretty much is a woman that fit in them type of categories. And if that alone don't show you, women like her and just wicked women in general, if that alone don't show you that your ass need to act right and need to pretty much take on the role of being a virtuous and righteous woman trying to seek for a man of the Lord, then these things are just going to get worse, because that's not the only chat group that is pretty much teaching men, and where men are actually enticing others and pretty much putting the influence on others to formulate ideas, come up with different scenarios on how to carry out their wicked agendas to certain type of woman. You know what I mean? Because honestly speaking, the message that has been going on in the media for quite some time, was pretty much with the whole feminism movements and all this shit. That's just gender warfare being pretty much amplified, as the years went on and social media got more advanced. It has become more mainstream, and it has become broadcasted on a whole nother level, this feminism, which is a form of witchcraft. And with that being said, when you have feminism that's been around for so goddamn long, and of course it came at different waves, where you had women's suffrage, and then you had the Planned Parenthood, right? And then the woman's lib, which was one of the turning points in feminism. And then at the same time, after the woman's liberation, you have it to where social media started pretty much, giving more women a voice and things of that nature. They were also, pushing for that at some point. Pretty much like the last form of the movement would be like the whole Me Too movement thing that women are doing. And it's really just honestly elevating these women's pride, and in that sense it's making them more arrogant, thinking to themselves they're more independent, yet ironically they depend on a flawed system, which is the government, who's basically main agendas for the woman to go against the men, but yet here it's men that run the government, mainly these banking family members, like the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and the other banking family members that's pretty much around that level of power and influence, which are corrupt Edomite men that's actually pushing for these agendas to be put in place so that men in general could be at war with women, and then that creates, of course, family units to be destroyed. And the stupid ass women don't understand that, especially the women of our nation, about how feminism is a contribution to the destruction of households, right? Which ends up using women to think to themselves they compete with their men, and what they end up doing is feeling like they could make their own decisions, and then that eventually causes for the children to be messed up, right? And then what? Now that the children are messed up and the father's not around, you have destroyed a broken household, and now people can't seem to want to fight against the government and think to themselves that they have so many issues going on in their family, and that's what this gender warfare has pretty much allowed. Nobody wants to basically fight against the government's corrupt ways anymore, all thanks to this whole feminism shit, and all the psychological warfare that Esau is pushing. And a woman being against a man has been the warfare that has been going on for so many decades, and social media has enhanced that on a whole nother level, because I just streamlined feminism to basically be pushed on a the most optimal level of all time. And with that being said, you have prideful bitches going on platforms talking shit. They're even having group chats amongst themselves and other podcasts on how to do witchcraft against men, right? Talking shit on how to basically entice men to have children with them, and then put them on child support, marry them, act traditional, to eventually turn on them when they least expect it, right? How to con and scam men for their liking, basically how to milk men of their resources. You have women that actually have a whole strategy plan, that have guidelines that they set up, and that have wicked agendas that they've been learning from other feminist women. And I wouldn't be surprised that they have forums and group chats like that for a long time where they do these things. So I know for sure that they definitely mention it on social media, and have like group pages and all that shit, dedicated to it. And another thing I want to mention is that one thing about Telegram is that Telegram happens to have the most maximum members that you could have in a Telegram group chat could be 100,000. You know, the social media platforms, they may say you can only have a few hundreds or maybe a few thousands, you know, but Telegram is definitely the social media platform where you could have like the most members out of all other social media platforms within a group chat. Because 100,000 is pretty much a lot, and you know. And for this article and the video that was being brought out, they mentioned 70,000 strictly men. And from what that other second guy was saying in the video, he said that you know, the white guy, which he could have probably been a, you know, scattered Israelite, but he, you know, of course sounds like a little simp in a sense. But you know, he mentioned that how those men, you know, in the group chat, or that are like mostly young men, comprised of men in their, like, I believe he mentioned some of them were at the age of preteen to teenage years. I believe he said 10 to 20, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you see, that's the crazy thing. So you even have young men, which I wouldn't be surprised if majority of them in that group chat, or if not all, have been in broken households led by a single woman. And you know, those households are really the most corrupt and destructive households of all time, right? And for so long, like, you know, you've been dealing with the stupidity of women to the point where it's like, you know, men want retribution. And for them to have group chats like this, and I don't know when they first made that group chat, but you definitely have other firms out there where there's a lot of men that's really taking counsel on the left hand side, that's actually really, you know, forming let's say ideas, you know, and mentioning topics on how to really, you know, dismantle the feminism. Because you see, one thing is, there's always a balance. You see, when the Most High has certain things to be put in society, he's gonna have something else to balance it out. You know what I mean? Feminism been around for so damn long, so of course there has to be a judgment for it, and this is a judgment for it. You know, and the government can only do so much but to intervene on certain things like this. You know what I mean? So, and just to have a good, let's say, how do I put it, but a superhero complex, Esau, of course, he likes to take one out of 100, you know, let's say, in a sense where if you see criminals out here, right, he takes 1 out of 100 criminals down, or out of the bunch, you know what I mean, just to look like he could gain the eyes of, you know, of the hero from many people, you know, gain that whole trust in people, to show that, oh, the government is doing something. But you see, one thing about these stupid ass people they don't understand is that crime is a controlled thing. So these group chats, they do exist, and there's way more, you know, so much more that I can't even number or name. But they definitely have firms on, you know, the deep web and even the dark net and all that shit about, you know, how to do these type of things, about men that are considered involuntary celibates, in other words, incels, like black-pilled men, you know, that really are pretty much that they're really trying to, you know, come against you woman and harm you woman, that they're really trying to do you woman dirty. And it serves them right to feel like that, because honestly speaking, you women have fucked a lot of men over, put men on child support, alimony, took away their homes, used the court system against them. Yo, that's really wicked. And you see, one thing about this court system is that the court system, you know, and all these other bureaucracies and these facilities that's catered to feminism and that is heavy set against the men in America, or just mainly the Israelite men in general, well, just men in America in general, because Esau, of course, he goes against his own people, which that's pretty much sad. But who gives a fuck about Esau any damn way? You're a two-time loser if you're going through these struggles, which is mainly supposed to happen to Jake and not Yah. But when you have these things set in place, what do you expect? You're gonna have a bunch of angry men that's tired of the bullshit. And seeing that how you have men from various countries shows you how the feminism is a widespread thing. It may not be as bad in other countries as how it's bad over here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's mostly men coming from first world countries with first world privileges, because social media affects women's minds mainly in first world countries, because when they get the amenities, they feel as though that they don't really need men, as they desperately and are in dire need of men in second and third world countries, and mainly in third world countries, because usually in third world countries they don't have the same amenities. Even though there is feminism to some degree being pushed to a small level, you would hardly notice it. That's how much the women are in order in those developing countries, like third world countries and so forth. And at the end of the day, women claim they don't like nice men. They claim nice men finish last. So hey, this is the end result for what happens when you want to date bad boys and all this shit. You know what I mean? And this is as far as being a feminist gets you. You see? Because you want to fuck around and dabble in witchcraft, hey. Eventually all the wickedness and the witchcraft that you do, it catches up with you. And you see, one thing you women gonna really understand in the times to come into is that crime is a controlled thing. And this world doesn't revolve around you. And you see, one thing about Esau is that when you have crime, let's say someone gets kidnapped and things of that nature, and even though like Esau may have technology to the point where he spies on your activity and all that shit, there's so much crime happening around. They have to prioritize who's more important, you know what I mean, and what crime is more important than others. You feel me? And they're gonna tackle on the crime that, of course, the county has, told them to, prioritize, like what criminals will go after first and things of that nature. They ain't gonna prioritize someone that's, calling the particular, prison facility or so, or the particular precinct that, hey, such and such has been kidnapped at this date, and she's still missing. Can you please find her? They're gonna try to say, they're doing the best they can and all that stuff, but they're gonna prioritize other crimes too, because there's other crimes happening in circulation. And you have men that's out here, doing crimes to women in broad daylight. There's even a lot of incidents where men have been going as far as even, sexually assaulting women on the street, and they have been doing it even in broad daylight, and running off. You know what I'm saying? Showing you women that this is why your ass has to get right. And let me bring out Titus chapter 2 verse 3. It says, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. Right, they shouldn't be on here on social media talking shit. They should be teaching good things in a way. And if anything, if you want to teach on social media, you should be teaching how to cook and how to clean and how to be a traditional woman. Teach the element that you were supposed to be, because being a feminist is pretty much outside your element. That's you warring against your nature. And anyone that wars against the nature is a crazy psychotic mentally insane person. And it says in verse 4 that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed. And I don't give a fuck on, I hope there's more men that end up, doing these things, because honestly speaking, this shows you that, that Isaiah 4:1 is going to be, mostly women seeking after men of the Lord, and it's going to be a prophecy that's going to come to pass at some point. You see, because you women is coming to a time where all the playtime is going to be over, and like they say, no more Mr. Nice Guys. And when you see these wicked men, they ain't gonna be nice to you. At one point in their life, they were nice to women, and what? They got their hearts broken. They got fucked over financially. You know how many men are in the prison system because of you damn woman? You know how many men are actually suffering because of you damn woman, homeless, in jail behind you woman, probably even been hospitalized, a lot of times because of woman. There's men actually committing crime all because of women. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much you women are basically the main culprit behind all the wickedness that goes on in this earth. And the scriptures tell you that, and yet behind all your fucking wickedness and all the stupid decisions that you made on your own, you got the fucking nerve to blame men. And especially when it's coming to the stupid Israelite woman, you so-called black, Hispanic, Native American woman of our nation. And I'm talking about the wicked ones amongst y'all. You got it to where they even got the fucking nerve to blame the men of their nation for the stupid decision that they made in their life. And ultimately, who you indirectly trying to blame is Esau for giving you the damn overmuch liberty any damn way. And let me bring out Zephaniah, the first chapter, verse 12. It says, "And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles and punish the men that are settled on their leads, that say in their heart, the Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil. Therefore their good shall become a booty, and their houses a desolation. They shall build houses, but not inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards, but not drink the wine thereof." And if the Most High said he's going to be judging the men of our nation, of course that's going to be a time of Jacob's trouble, and that's what it's pretty much talking about. But if the Most High is going to judge men, how much more you think he's going to judge women? And during the times of shit hitting the fan, who's going to be mostly desolate is going to be women and children. In that time, they're going to be the most desperate, and they're going to be in the most vulnerable situations, especially women that don't have a man. And that's why in 2nd Ezra 16 it mentions about how when it's coming to women, you basically gonna be mourning because you have no bridegrooms, and you have no husbands, and you're gonna have men, if they're even in your life, that are most likely not a man of the Lord, that's gonna be, of course, dying in these race wars, in these societal clashes that's going to be happening, and they're going to even be drafted in World War III, and they're going to end up dying. You see? And whatever judgment the Most High sets on this earth is going to pretty much be out here to target anyone who's considered a 2/3 or just a heathen that's meant to be judged and X'd out. And now you see, you women gonna realize that a man of the Lord is gonna be more precious than fine gold in that time. And of course, when it says their good shall become a booty, you women are considered to be as a man's goods. In a sense, you are considered as property. And it tells you that in Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter, about how in verse 1, about how that land being greatly polluted if, of course, a woman commits adultery with one man. But that goes to show you that you women are actually a man's property. And you women are, of course, definitely polluted because you allowed multiple men to trespass on you and all that shit. So in that time, you're gonna be polluted on a whole nother level, because you're gonna have a bunch of crazy men out there that it ain't gonna be them just forming group chats and on how to harm you anymore. It's just gonna be them just actually going out and doing it, you know? So just like how you women get influenced by all the feminism and all the wickedness that y'all have group chats y'all on your own, you have podcasts that y'all be tuning into, and other wicked and feminist influencers that y'all be listening to, you're gonna have men that's gonna have to do the same thing and counter that, but they're gonna of course be listening to other men that's gonna teach on the MGTOW perspective on how to, you know, basically combat and dismantle the feminist agenda. And then some of them are gonna even follow other men that's gonna come with a whole, let's say, a violent, terroristic way of doing it, and they're gonna come with a more aggressive, threatening, and violent approach to it, and they're gonna go as far as actually taking matters in their own hands and ready to jack you women up. Because shit, when you have a whole system that's dedicated to screwing men and fucking men over and putting men in prison if they don't comply with the child support or the alimony, revoking their licenses, you know, doing other restrictions that make you feel like shit, like your whole world is pretty much ending, you know. You have men that even committed suicide because of this shit, or unalive their woman for trying to put them through this nonsense. Because like you said, like they say in this world, like, you know, people say life ain't fair. Well, guess what? People ain't gonna be living by that life ain't fair no more, and they're gonna be trying to make things fair for themselves. And how they're gonna do that is by taking action in their hands and, you know, taking the power and trying to place it on itself to actually go as far as, you know, doing something that is considered, you know, crashing out. And they're gonna do some reckless shit like this. And very soon there's gonna be a whole bunch of men doing so much of it that Esau just gonna have to, you know, I guess allow the crime to, you know, to happen, you know. And then right before you know it, when you see a compilation of these things happening back to back, just know that Esau can't put everyone in prison, you know. Eventually that's gonna be a time of Jacob's trouble and the Wild Wild West, you know. Then you're gonna have people coming after you, judges that have been placing them in prison over the child support shit and the alimony, whatever, that have been, you know, fucking with men's, you know, child custody case, making them lose the battle, even after they try to present you evidence about how the woman is not even spending the money right for the kids, you know. And just the unfair shit that has been happening against men, you know, with you police officers and, you know, doing things to screw men over and all this nonsense, and giving favor to the woman. You see, they're coming after your asses too during that time. And you women are gonna definitely be left unprotected. It tells you that in Jeremiah, the 4th chapter. I'm gonna start at verse 30. Let me see. It says, "And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou closest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee, they will seek thy life. For I heard as of a woman in travail, and the anguish as of her that bringeth forth her first child, the voice of the daughter of Zion that bewaileth herself, that spreadeth her hand, saying, Woe is me now, for my soul's weary because the murderers." Right. You're gonna have a lot of men that's gonna be ready to just unalive you, and shit, not even unalive you, they're gonna torture you. And I wouldn't be surprised in those group chats that they're teaching men on how to torture you women to make you feel every bit of that pain. And yeah, it's definitely gonna happen to y'all. And it has to any fucking way. Because, you know, as they say, playtime is over, you know. And when you play with wickedness, I expect that there's gonna be a balance to counter the wickedness. It has to be judgment. I mean, for every attack, there's always got to be a counterattack. There always has to be a defense against an attack. That's the balance. You women have been doing all these feminist attacks, so you're gonna have, a bunch of men that's gonna have their, movements, and even enticing other men to come up with, violent movements to go as far as attacking you woman back and setting you woman up. And you women, y'all be thinking too ahead of yourselves, thinking that you could set up vulnerable men and all this nonsense. But hey, scriptures say that jealousy is the rage of a man, and he will not spare in the day of vengeance. So, you think about playing around with a man's spirit, they're gonna go back into that ancient world type of spirit on a whole nother level, because ain't nothing worse than a angry man who's been fucked over by the system. And you see all these things. The thing is that all these systems, like it tells you in Isaiah 32, you women rising up that are at ease, the scriptures say that the venture shall fail. These fucking bureaucracies, they ain't gonna stand forever. It's gonna fail. It's gonna eventually collapse. You see, America owes money to China. They owe countries to not only China, which of course they owe, I believe, like the most debt to China, but they owe debt to Japan, the United Kingdom, Canada, Switzerland, Taiwan, Ireland, and so forth. And at the same time, them owing money to all these other nations, they're also extracting resources from other nations too, so they could be owing, other nations, a lot of money that's pretty much unannounced as well. Only the Most High knows how much has America been milking from other countries. So Esau, of course, goes by estimates on how much America owes to other nations. And with that being said, the national debt is it's always growing so much to the point where there's no way we're gonna be able to pay that shit off. And it's impossible, because those banking families ain't gonna do shit like that. They expecting this country to collapse, and when it collapses, all these other institutions that's set up against men is gonna collapse as well. And even you women protection systems like the police force and shit like that, they're gonna collapse, and they ain't gonna help you women. They're gonna be trying to save themselves and their families, and that's gonna leave you women very desolate in the midst of all these men, also trying to get their lick back and attacking you. At some point you're gonna have the men and Lord that the Most High gonna raise up to get that spiritual power, and your ass is grass, and it's completely clipped for you if you have screwed over a man of the Lord. Just to put that out there. And a lot of y'all feel like y'all have the spirit of telling men or just anyone in general that only God could judge me. Well, hey, this is Jacob's troubles meant for that, to intensify the judgment on you woman. So with that, woman, let's edify, to give all glory, praise, honor to Adonai Yahweh, Bashem, Shalom, Yasharahla, Shalom, the honest apostle, El's great millstone, and peace out teachings, the hopeful, that Shalom.